Cyberbullying should be punished within schools. There are many forms of cyberbullying. You have text, you have social media accounts, you have hacking one's account, you have pretending to be someone else online, all of which takes the victim and lowers their self-esteem. According to the iSafe Foundation, cyberbullying can lead to anxiety, depression, and even thoughts of suicide. Also, in that same survey, the iSafe Foundation found that over half of the teens in school have either been bullied or engaged in the bullying. Since most cyberbullying is related to in-person bullying and just extends outside of the school, bullies should be punished at school. Handling the bullying in a school environment would make it become viral. People will say, why not block the bully? Well, the problem with that remains is, what if it's not direct bullying? You may block that single person. However, you go to a school with, say, 600 students, and they're friends with those others, and you're receiving the backlash from being friends with the next person. So should that person just become enclosed and not venture on social media, something that's actually a positive activity if used the correct way? I think not. It should not fall on the victim. It should fall on the offender. And schools should be the one helping to make sure that happens. Schools need to take responsibility for the safety of students. That includes what happens in school and what extends to the household. If it's happening in school and it extends to the household, students should be aware that schools will take responsibility for it and will have consequences for those offenders. They need to educate the kids and provide counseling support. This is not just to the victim, however. This is to the offender as well. Offenders do not understand that cyberbullying is just as bad as when you're in front of somebody in person bullying them. They need to know the effects that it can cause thoughts of suicide, that it can cause anxiety, it can cause low self-esteem, and it can cause depression. They don't want to be the offenders. They also need to be aware of the consequences and be aware that schools will not stand for it, even if the parents do not know. And once the students are educated, they're educated and find out that they can actually report to the school. The school, once they receive reports, whether it be for the victim or the offender, they need to notify the parents so that it can be a collaborative effort to make sure that everybody, offender and victim, understand why it's important not to cyberbully. In 2013, 14.8% of students have been cyberbullied. This survey was conducted nationwide by the Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance. Now, the Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance is governed by the Center for Disease Control. They survey and study everything that negatively affects teenagers and youth. Cyberbullying is difficult to prevent, one, because according to the Hartford County Examiner, only 1 in 10 notify their parents. This means that schools should take the front. If schools take the front and educate the students, educate them to understand that it's okay to be a victim and it's okay to report, then they will be able to rise that number up from 1 to 10. They will be able to, because most students, most teens in the high school age don't want to talk to their parents. The Cyberbullying Research Center conducted surveys and found that 80% of teens use a phone regularly. Now, this is important because the cell phone is the main medium for cyberbullying. Within their palm, within that offender's palm and victim's palm, is social media on tap, is text messages, or all different avenues. The internet, so it's easy to send that text with a disparaging remark or to send that status or message and not even think that you're really affecting somebody. That's where the education piece comes in. Cyberbullying victims are more likely to attempt suicide. It doesn't matter if we only save one. If we save one and 10 others die, then we've saved one life by educating the students. We've made it 10 instead of 11. It is important. Schools should become the central agency for that fact that students report to. It's where they're at most of the day. They're at school. Their social life centers around the relationships they find and make in school. And that cyberbullying can harm that, can stop their self-esteem, can make them not want to go to school. Lastly, Schools should treat it as if it was in person when it comes to punishment. This is to say, if they were to see somebody cyberbullying in class, they would suspend that student. It should be the same way when a victim reports, so that the victim knows and that students understand that there are consequences and victim knows that they have support. Once we actually educate and actually show there's consequences, the offenders will slow down. The victims will report, and then we'll have an actual agency with counselors, with parents, with everybody working on the same level to combat cyberbullying. And that is why schools need to actually suspend and punish for cyberbullying.